Over the past few weeks, Martin Truex Jr. has come under a lot of pressure to make a decision about his career. The NASCAR veteran has been contemplating retirement for the last couple of years. Initially, his team, Gibbs Racing, placed no pressure on him to make a decision. But this year is a bit different and looks as though Truex Jr. has made his decision, and JGR has already shortlisted their next driver for the number 19 car. This season, the teams have come under a lot of pressure to finalize their driver lineup for next year as soon as possible. A few weeks back, Truex Racing announced that they would be leaving the sport and would be selling all 4 of their charters. The team came to this decision as the team owners were not able to commit time to build the squad. However, the other teams will now have to make very important decisions going forward. But you will have to make a rather easy decision to subscribe to our channel. It's basically a no-brainer. We post the latest news in the world of NASCAR, so just hit that subscribe button and let us do the rest. You won't regret it. This triggered Gibbs Racing to put some pressure on Martin Truex Jr. to make a decision on his retirement. Succumbing to the pressure, Truex has made the decision to retire from NASCAR. So, from the 2025 season, JGR will have another driver in the number 19 car. There are several candidates who will be ready to step into the car. But what type of driver does Gibbs Racing need for their future? There's no doubt that several drivers will be eyeing the open seat at JGR. They're currently the best team on the grid, and their drivers are clear contenders for the Cup Series title this year. JGR will also be one of only 2 teams in NASCAR to have 4 charters on the grid. Hence, they will have access to more data to improve the car. The only drivers who will not want to go to JGR are those in Hendrick Motorsports. Apart from Truex Jr., JGR has Denny Hamlin, Ty Gibbs, and Christopher Bell in their cars. Hamlin is a NASCAR veteran who is looking to win the Cup Series title this year. Ty Gibbs, on the other hand, is one of the youngest drivers on the grid who is looking to learn from his teammates. Christopher Bell is currently 29 years old and is at the prime of his career. For Martin Truex Jr.'s replacement, the team will want to have another driver over 25 years old, so he can start performing on the squad right away. One of the biggest sponsors for Martin Truex Jr. is Bass Pro Shops. They also sponsor Noah Gragson, who is driving for SHR this season and will have to look for a different team next year. So his sponsor could now focus on Gragson and get him a seat in JGR. But does this make sense for the team? There's no doubt that Gragson would love to join JGR given the team's history of success. However, Gibbs Racing would prefer someone who has a better track history than Gragson. Over the years, Gragson has not been able to beat his teammates in SHR. This season, he's behind 2 of his teammates. NASCAR reporter Jordan Bianchi has given his thoughts on who will drive the number 19 car next year. The team, Gibbs Racing, is not expected to name Truex's replacement immediately, but Chase Briscoe is considered one of the leading candidates to fill the vacancy. Sources briefed on the team's plan said, Bianchi reports. This brings us to Chase Briscoe. Briscoe has been SHR's poster boy ever since he joined the team in 2021. He was one of the first to thank the team when they announced their departure from the sport. Now that he's available in the driver market, a lot of teams will want him to drive for them. Over the years, he has shown that he can be consistent and loyal to the team. This makes him one of the strongest options for JGR. Briscoe is also 29 years old and at the prime of his career. He'll be eager to get in a competitive car and start winning races to shoot for the Cup Series title. Among the SHR drivers, Chase Briscoe is easily the best option for JGR. Another driver whose name has been coming up recently is Kyle Busch. There have been rumors circling that he will be reuniting with his old team after this year. Busch drove for Gibbs Racing from 2008 to 2022. He has accomplished a lot with JGR, including 2 Cup Series championships in 2015 and 2019. But will he be the right choice? Ever since he left JGR to join Richard Childress Racing, Busch has been struggling for performance. A lot of fans say he's washed and it's time for him to retire from the sport. However, Busch doesn't have any plans to retire yet. This year, Busch is having one of the worst seasons of his career. So does Gibbs Racing want such a driver on the team? Now that they're facing competition from Hendrick Motorsports and Penske, JGR will want a driver to be in the lead lap on a consistent basis. It doesn't look like Kyle Busch is the right option for this. There's also the concern of Busch's contract with RCR. When he first signed his contract for this season, he didn't reveal any details of the tenure. However, NASCAR senior writer Candace Spencer has shed some light on this. I asked him, Busch at Kansas Speedway, "What's your contract situation for next year?" And he said, "I'm still under contract." He signed a deal that was 2 years and an option, and I verified that with the front office at RCR. Had that not been the case, my guess is he would have been first in line to go back to Joe Gibbs Racing. But now that is another seat that is open. So it is clear that Kyle Busch will remain at RCR for another year. JGR would not want their next driver to drive for them for a few years and take off. They want a driver who would stick with them for the long term. We've seen this happen with Denny Hamlin, Kyle Busch, and Martin Truex Jr. From the way it seems, Christopher Bell will also be sticking with the team for the long term. There's no doubt that Ty Gibbs will be with the team as he's the grandson of Joe Gibbs. Another driver who could be a candidate for the open seat at Joe Gibbs Racing is Chandler Smith. He's currently a driver for Joe Gibbs Racing in the Xfinity Series. This year, he sits third in the points table and is one of the competitors to win the Xfinity Series title. However, Chandler is just 21 years old and still needs to get some experience before driving for a top team, such as Joe Gibbs Racing. Putting him in JGR in the Cup Series could be rather overwhelming for the 21-year-old. Besides, JGR already has Ty Gibbs, who is still learning and eager to make his name. So it is unlikely that JGR will want to bring in another young driver until Ty Gibbs is able to start competing for wins on a consistent basis. Given the options available, Chase Briscoe looks to be the strongest contender for the seat. However, JGR is not expected to make their announcement anytime soon. Besides, Briscoe still has another 10 more races in the regular season to focus on. He's yet to qualify for the playoffs and will be eager to get that race during the regular season. Truex is expected to announce his retirement from the sport during the press conference tomorrow at Iowa. JGR will want the weekend to be centered around Truex Jr. and his legacy in the sport. Martin Truex Jr. has enjoyed a long and successful career in NASCAR. He started his career with the Earnhardt family in 2006, where he developed as a driver. Some of his best performances in NASCAR came with Furniture Row Racing. He won a Cup Series title with them and left after the 2018 season to join Joe Gibbs Racing. With JGR, he has been one of the most consistent drivers in the sport. Just last weekend, Truex Jr. was on the verge of winning the race in Sonoma until he ran out of fuel on the final corner of the last lap. However, he's still the highest-scoring non-race winner of the season so far, so is on track to drive in the playoffs this year. Despite this, he will be heading into the race in Iowa looking for a win. Given that the teams are back racing in an oval this weekend, Truex will have a good chance to win the race. Given that this will be Truex Jr.'s last season in NASCAR, he'll be looking to finish off on a high note. There's no doubt that Martin will want to perform at his best this year. He'll be gunning for the Cup Series title. Whoever will be driving the number 19 car next year will have some pretty large shoes to fill. Who do you think will replace Martin Truex Jr. in Joe Gibbs Racing next year? Post your thoughts in the comment section below.